Hi everybody, welcome to Missy's Imaginings. I decided to open up the curtains behind the camera for just a little while to show you some new pieces that I've been sewing. This is a new pattern set and I've been doing the first attempt, to try out the pattern pieces and make sure they work. I wanted to get a little bit filmed today, but it's been very warm, so we've had the house all closed and dark. But I thought, well, I'll let the light in for a little while so we can show off some pieces, and then I'll close it back up again. So this set is not all inclusive of what you see here. This pair of pants is already on the website, so you can go ahead and download that pattern. And this is the 66 centimeter heron pants with cuffs, in case you want this pair of pants. But the rest of the pieces are in a new set, and it's the Hanbok set. So everything, and then the tank top is not included in this set. It's already somewhere on the website. So for this set, the pattern pieces include the pants, the shirt, the vest, and here's the vest, we'll look at it in a minute, the coat, the two hats, the stockings, and the shoes. And so I thought we'd kind of go over the pieces just to kind of let you see what all is entailed if you want to make this set. This is the Miro Doll 66 centimeter male body, and both of them have the same body, so that's what it's on. So another body of similar measurements, it would work. This jacket, we could start with this jacket, so let's open his arm out here, has a bent hat, has a rectangle sleeve, and then there are ties, and this is the same feature in the vest, shirt, and jacket, in that there are ties on the inside, and then the front overlaps with ties on the side. And so all of the three pieces, top pieces, will have that. You can rim the edges however you choose. I think on the shirt I gave an actual measurement to go up and around, but I chose to only put on a collar, and then I just folded this in and did some fancy stitching up the front on the collar and then on the cuffs of the sleeves. Then let's go ahead and remove this jacket, and inside the jacket are chiffon pieces that will hang below at the opening, so the back is open from about halfway down the back to the hemline, as well as on the sides. We'll lift up the sleeve here, and so it has openings on the sides, and then the chiffon hangs at the inseams down below. And that's just something that I've seen done, and I thought it was a cool feature, but you wouldn't have to do that. You could easily just make, the seam go all the way to the bottom if you want. So that's the coat, and as you can tell, it's large, so it'll fit, these guys, but it'll also fit guys that are a little bit more broad. The hat, to make this hat, I actually cut out this frame piece 3 times. So I glued 2 pieces of cardstock together and then traced and cut it out for the first time. Then I covered that with chiffon as well. As you can tell, it's see-through. And then I went ahead and cut out a 3rd piece that would glue on top of that once everything is put together. And then I cut just some little 1/4-inch frameworks for the top. I think I would like it better to have more of a stovepipe, but I was just experimenting. So these are the pieces that's in the pattern to make this hat. This hat was a little different. I did have to change this hat, so we'll see if I can find that piece. So here is the pattern piece, and to make this, you can tell just by looking at it that I had to make it steeper. So I made it taller, and I actually did make it a little more narrow, and then a little bit extended on the hem, because right now it's resting right on the hem, so there's a seam allowance. But this just made it pretty much more flat than I wanted. So if you don't want this piece, you know, you can just throw it away, or you can, and I have where I folded to make that more like this, and then I made it longer, so it would be more like, there's the difference. So you can see that. So I added a good 1.25 inches of length, and then I made it more narrow. So that one you can adjust if you'd like. All the other pieces are sewn as the pattern is, except for this hat. So then let's see, the pants has a tie, which I just made the tie, and it's very long, so it wraps around a couple times. So we can show the tie here. And then the pants are made to be big because they are made to fold as Korean pants actually do. And so on the waistband, I simply did decorative stitching along right where it's sewn, as well as on the top, that matches the collar on the shirt and the cuffs. So this stitching matches what's on the shirt. Then the shirt as well, if you untie the Korean tie there, then it has the ties on the inside as well, and then comes over the front. And the same on the vest. So the vest is made to have the insets on the side. If you don't like that inset look, you can easily overlap those pieces and make it one piece, but be sure that you overlap on the seam line. Don't just connect the pieces together, because this piece has a seam allowance and that has a seam allowance. So if you want to connect those into one, just be sure that your overlap is the exact seam line, and then you could do that in one color. So, and then the back of this just looks like this. It just has a straight, almost a straight back. It's curved a little bit, but mostly straight. So those are the pieces. And then, let's see, and then the stockings, the black stockings I already had that he's wearing, but the white stockings, I actually folded and did a top stitch seam very close to the folded edge to give you that edge. And I'll go ahead and maybe over my head I'll put a close-up photo. So that seam looks more authentic, but it also makes it harder to get the socks onto the feet, because by putting this seam in, you're eliminating some of the stretch. So if you want to do this, I would recommend making your stockings just a little bit wider than the pattern. These were kind of a fight to get on his feet, just because his ankle and the back of his heel has to go through the most narrow part of the stocking to get down into where it fits, and that was a little difficult. The shoes I made from the pattern as is, so the little slip-on leather shoes. What I use for the shoe is, it's a very, very heavy vinyl, and it's real thick. That's what I use for the sole of the shoe, and then I use more of a soft faux leather for the top part of the shoe. But those turned out just like I wanted them to. If you want a shoe that covers a little bit more, you can make that adjustment. So I think that's all the pieces, and then I just made a headband just because. So yeah, so that's all the pieces. The other quick idea I had that I tried that I wasn't entirely happy with, but it could work, is I wanted to experiment with some eyes, just marbles. And so I tried it, but I will tell you that they look a little alienish to have the entire eye one color, because I couldn't find any marbles with a cat eye inside them. I have some somewhere, but I couldn't find them. So I got a bag of marbles just at the Dollar Tree. So if that's something you'd like to try, there's various sizes, and we'll pull some out here. And it's a lot bigger bag than this, but I just grabbed a pair of each. But as you can see, they're different sizes. So it's kind of a variety, but it just gives you something fun to play with. So that's an idea you can use and play with if you want to have some kind of alien looking eyeballs. It's just something new, right? And if that's the look you're wanting for your doll, then it might be a real inexpensive way to get them. The other thing you could do with an enamel is to paint onto these if you have an enamel type paint that won't just chip off, you know, but will paint on glass, okay? That's just kind of a fun and easy way to get a glass eye base. And there are white ones in there, so you could easily add, you know, the pupil and everything that you want. So for $1, it gives you something fun to use as an experiment. And the last thing before we actually draw up these pattern pieces is, oh, and the ankles tie. I'm sorry, I almost missed something. There we go. So if you untie the ankle pieces, let's see, wait, do I need to lift them up? The ties are on the bottom of the pants, and those two fold over, and then you tie that around the ankle. So there you go. And if you want pants that are a little wider, then you can always make that adjustment. So if you want a little more fullness in the pant. But the other thing you'll notice on this set is that this pair of pants, the front and the back pieces are the same. So depending on what doll that you're going to use, you might need to add a little more width if you've got a doll that has, you know, more of a bum or more hips. So kind of watch for that. But the last thing, these two were having trouble kind of standing, and I noticed that their ankles were real wobbly. So I like to get, I have a lot of this stuff. It's just a heavy clear vinyl, and I just cut a circle of that and then punch a hole in the middle. And then I remove the foot and put this around the hook and then put the foot back on. And that way you're kind of sueding the joint without actually putting glue on the resin. So if you really don't want to try the hot glue thing because you don't want to risk burning the resin with your glue gun or hot glue, if you're not comfortable doing that, you can get some clear vinyl. Most places that sell fabric will have it like in the upholstery type textiles. So you can get some of this and get the thick kind so that it gives you a nice wedge of friction. But that, just cutting that circle and inserting it into his joints, I've done already. It made a big difference on how their ankles compose. I've also used it under the head and over the top of the neck to give the heads more posability so their heads don't kick so much. So anyhow, that's just some of the fun tips that I thought might be helpful, so you can enjoy that. And now we'll go ahead and switch up the camera. We'll draw up this pattern and get ready so we can post it on the website. See you later.